Good morning, folks. Thanks for tuning in today. We're going to talk about how to optimize your internet and streaming and Wi-Fi and networking, and focus on how to avoid Comcast Xfinity's data caps. My name is Brian Kavanaugh. I am the founder and co-CEO at freeTVee. We've been actually doing this for over 10 years, so we have a lot of expertise, not just on TV, but also obviously saving people money, which is what we do, help people cut the cord. And our average customer saves $1,500 every year, so significant savings. But a lot of that is also related to streaming, internet, Wi-Fi, all of the above. And even before this, actually, I worked for CenturyLink, one of the local internet providers, for 13 years. So a lot of experience in that area. I've seen a lot of things throughout my experiences in these 23 years or so that I've been doing this, and I'm going to pass on some of that knowledge to you today. Because at the end of the day, really, there's, unfortunately, when you have a monopoly like really CenturyLink, Comcast, Dish, DirecTV, it's kind of all the same stuff regurgitated. At the end of the day, it really is a monopoly. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and you don't really always get the straight story when you call into Comcast, as an example. So anyway, we'll kind of cover a lot of different topics related to that today. Your internet, Wi-Fi, data caps with Comcast, what your options are. So thanks for tuning in. We do these webinars usually on a weekly basis. We'll probably take a little bit of slow pace, maybe on a monthly basis for the holidays. We still write blogs on a weekly basis too. So if you go to our website, it's a great resource for information. Not just on internet and Wi-Fi and streaming, but also on anything related to TV, antennas, cord cutting, obviously, saving money, things like that. Our website is www.freeTVee.com. And there's a couple of things I'll show you on here just real quick for future reference for yourself. Probably you found us through the Watch Our Webinar, so we'll pump out there every couple weeks or so the new webinar topic coming up. If you're brand new to freeTVee or brand new to cord cutting, I would definitely recommend scheduling a call with one of our experts. Really, I'm talking kind of general stuff today, but it's much easier, especially if you're new to cord cutting, to just have a one-on-one consultation with you and your spouse. That way we know exactly what you need. We can point you in the right direction, things like that. And the other thing that's on here too is, well, certainly if you're an existing customer, refer a friend. We pay back anywhere from $50 to $100 per customer referral. But also the news section here has a lot of great blog articles. So that's a really good place to kind of look. Or you can even just search the website actually and find whatever you're looking for specifically. Or just give us a call, 303-794-8600. Really, I created freeTVee 10 years ago to try to help people out because, unfortunately, like I said, with Comcast, CenturyLink, Dish, DirecTV, there's just not a whole lot of information out there as far as how to do things differently. It's a lot of bait and switch tactics and a lot of crappy customer service and all the other nonsense that goes on. So at the end of the day, we created freeTVee to try to help people out, educate people to what was possible, not just for TV, but your whole internet. Wi-Fi streaming and saving money. Like I said, our average customer saves $1,500 a year, so it's very significant savings. Really, we exist instead of someone trying to cut the cord themselves and piecemeal something together, and there's just a lot of confusing options out there, and a lot of things just don't work very well, so we just bring it all together for people so they can save their time, save their money, save their sanity. What we do is very important and very reasonable cost-wise too, and obviously it pays for itself if you're saving $1,500 a year and getting the same channels and such. So anyway, we'll get into it. The first thing I want to kind of just talk about in general, I think that's an important place to start, is why does Comcast Xfinity have data caps? Because quite frankly, they're the only internet provider in the state. Not that there are a lot of them. We'll have a future webinar, by the way, probably in the next month or so on what the different internet options are. There's actually some pretty interesting things coming in the future, 2021 and moving forward. For now, it's for the most part just two options. It's either CenturyLink or Comcast. CenturyLink doesn't have data caps, So we'll kind of get into that and what I recommend for that in the future here throughout the webinar today. But Comcast, unfortunately, has data caps. And there's a lot of different things that kind of raise your data up. But at the end of the day, I think it's really important to understand why Comcast has data caps. Now, they'll tell you it's because of keeping the integrity of their network, right? I would argue that that's pretty much a load of crap at the end of the day. Kind of like a lot of stuff they spin out there. It really doesn't make any sense. And the reason I would say that is for a couple of reasons. One, they have a monopoly. So when you don't have any competition, you can do whatever the heck you want. It's really just a way to, it's a money grab for them to get more money out of people. Here's a perfect example of why I say that. I'll give you even two examples. One, they're in the northeastern United States. There's a real competitor there that's actually better than Centrally. It's called Verizon Fios. It's fiber to the home, high-speed internet. They don't have data caps, and it's available in a lot of the areas where Centrelink in this area either isn't available in certain spots, or the internet speed is so ridiculously slow that it's not truly a competitive high-speed internet option. Where they have Verizon Fios, though, up in the northeastern United States, guess what? Comcast doesn't have any data caps. Huh, how convenient. Whereas everywhere else in the country, they do have data caps. How does that make any sense? Well, it's because they actually have real competition. Another example of that is actually kind of closer to home in Colorado. They can't really do it city by city, but the city of Longmont has an interesting internet service called Nextlight. It's gig internet, high-speed internet, no data caps. They have different options, but generally speaking, you can get a gig for anywhere from, we'll say, $50 to $70 for a gig speed, no data caps. Well, Comcast and Longmont only, you can magically get a gig where, for like, I want to say it's like $70, something like that, $70, $80. Everywhere else, Comcast gig speed is like $110 a month or somewhere right around that. So again, anywhere there's real competition where they don't just own the market, ironically, there's these competitive offers popping up or no data cap like we've seen in the northeastern United States. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. We're going to show you how to kind of get around some of those tactics, because yes, you can pay them $30 a month for unlimited data, but I don't recommend doing that, because personally, I don't like supporting companies or businesses that gouge their customers, which is why I created freeTVee, to help people get away from all the crappy customer service, the bait and switch pricing, the 200 channels for $200 a month, all that nonsense. Obviously, we have other webinars, and certainly if you schedule a personalized, schedule a call with us, we'll be able to talk you through how to get any channel you want, quite frankly, for either free or a lot less money. There's a lot of options out there. You can get any channel you want. At the end of the day, basically what we do is we take your $200 cable bundle, TV, internet, phone, whatever you have, we shop it down to internet only. We usually get internet only for right around $50 a month. Tax on internet's less than $1. And we have a lot of free options for TV, and then even the pay options. There's bundles that are just $20, $30 a month for cable channels, no contracts. So there's a lot smarter ways to do it. And I'll show you some ways throughout this webinar today that you can use a lot of these TV services where you're not streaming and you're not using data at all, too. Before we get off this, though, if you can kind of see this gives you an idea of what Comcast data cap limits are and what they charge. So you can kind of see here they have a 1.2 terabyte. One terabyte basically is 1,000 gigabytes. So it's actually a decent amount of data. The problem is the way life goes, and COVID and all these other things are actually increasing people's data usage exponentially. Now, most of our customers, because again, that's just part of what we help people with, most of our customers don't have issues with data caps for lots of reasons, because we have other ways to get around that. But you can kind of see they really gouge you when you go over your data cap, your 1.2 terabyte limit. You actually get charged $10 per 50 gigs. So basically 1/25th of your data cap. If you hit that, you're getting charged an extra $10. So it ain't cheap. You're going to get nailed. what I want to kind of cover next is, and we'll actually go back home. This is what kind of one of the interfaces that we use. And there's things in the background like antennas and other boxes and things that kind of bring it all together. But we're all about simplicity. So I'm doing everything today on one of the little streaming sticks that we install. And you can see it has built-in like TV power, volume, stuff like that. So it's super simple. You don't have to change inputs back and forth. You don't have to do any of that nonsense. It's all right there in one interface. What I wanted to show you though is a couple things. By the way, little streaming stick, right? That's kind of one example of something that uses data. So the other thing to kind of get a good grip on is why your Xfinity data use is so high. Now, again, like I said, for most people, there's ways to get around it. Certainly, the more people you have in your house, obviously, there's more people using devices, then you're going to have a higher data usage. So you're going to get closer to the data cap. The other thing is just the amount of devices in general, right? Obviously, there's things like streaming sticks, whatever. Yes, you got your computers, things like that. That's not really too big a deal. But if you think about, the way the world has changed, we have home security cameras. I myself have home security cameras. I myself have, we install these things like Sonos Audio, which is a really cool audio system. So there's things like that use data. Even just like a Ring doorbell uses data. Surfing the internet uses data. Streaming music or streaming video like a Spotify or a Pandora, that uses data. Streaming Netflix uses data. So there's a lot of things that use data. And then you throw on top of that what happened, about 6 months ago with COVID hitting. And really it takes all that stuff and just exponentially increases it, because now you have more people at home. Like me, for instance, we actually don't go over our data because I've done a lot of these things that I'm going to show you today. But I have a family of 4, 2 kids. I'm working from home all day, every day. My wife works from home, most days now with COVID. Our kids are homeschooled now because of COVID, most days because they can't go to school. So all those Zoom calls and dialing into work and all those things just kind of add up. And yes, you're doing your normal streaming things, as well, and all those other things I was talking about too. So there's just a lot of devices that are basically using up data, every minute of every day. So certainly it's that. And then like right now, for instance, my mother-in-law is here because she just had surgery. So she's streaming TV upstairs and using data. So there's just so many things that use data. And the more people you have, my son's a gamer. Gaming uses a huge amount of data. So that's the next thing we're going to kind of cover is, I think it's really important to understand what uses little data and what uses a lot of data. If you can cut down or somehow trim down some of the things that use a lot of data, then you'll stay under your data cap. So if we kind of take it on a scale, I think the easiest way to think about it is if we're going from like 1 to 10, something that uses very little data is like checking your email or just surfing the internet, right? That's going to be pretty low. It's going to be like a 1 on the scale of 1 to 10. If you have, things like you're streaming music, that'll use a little bit more data. If you're streaming video like Netflix, that'll use a little bit of data. If you're streaming 4K, you're actually basically using more than twice the amount of data as just streaming regular HD. So 4K, because people are selling all these 4K TVs and 4K this and 4K that, it's a double-edged sword, because if you're streaming in 4K, just because you have a 4K TV doesn't mean you have to stream in 4K. Quite frankly, like a lot of times, especially on smaller TVs, you don't even notice the difference. So I'll show you some ways to kind of cut that out of the mix. So 4K streaming and like major uploading and downloading of files, things like that. Gaming, which has a lot of major uploading, downloading of files, that uses a lot of data as well. Yes, you could kick your kids out to the curb, but really at the end of the day, you probably don't want to do that. So there's probably other ways to get around your data usage. So that's kind of the range of things that use a little data versus a lot of data. And next we'll kind of go into as an example, yes, you have things like Netflix, Prime, stuff like that, YouTube that use data. You can go into those apps individually. Usually you got to do it on your computer and go into Netflix and like change the setting there. You can change settings on your phone, like for YouTube as an example, things like that. You can change settings on your computer for YouTube. So there's different ways to kind of change each individual app settings. I can't show everybody because everybody's got different stuff, obviously. But if I go into this, this is actually going into my settings here on my little streaming stick. And if I go down over to preferences, this is kind of one example of how I've gone in and just eliminated. Maybe on your big screen TV, you want to be in 4K because on the bigger screens, it's actually easier to notice some of the quality degradation. But on your like bedroom TVs and your smaller TVs and your kids like TV or tablet or phone or whatever, you're not going to notice something on a small screen if it's streaming in HD versus 4K. And like I said, 4K sucks away at least twice as much data. So that's a really simple way. You can kind of see here, I can go in here like to data monitoring. This is just one example. Basically, once I turn my data monitoring on, instead of having my quality to best, you can see it consumes the most internet data. I've switched it down to better. I don't even notice the difference, right? So to me, this is one thing that I would recommend doing. You know, like I said, you can go in on your computer or on your tablet or on your phone and go into individual apps and change your data settings there. Each one of them are a little bit different. Or if you have a streaming stick, you can go into that stick itself, and somewhere in the settings, you usually have a way to change it as well. Every device is different, so I'm not going to get into all 500 bazillion devices and how to do it, but that's the general high-level overview. If I go back home here, and let's say I just pull up something like, well, actually, we can just pull up a little stream here. Streaming live TV, which is, again, why we use other things like TV antennas, because they don't use any data, which we'll get more into that in a minute. If I go out here and I just stream something real quick. So even though I changed my setting from the best 4K down to better, like it's a small TV, you don't notice the difference, right? I guarantee your kids won't notice the difference, right? They don't really care about it at all. So anyway, I'm pretty much into video, but I still don't notice the difference. And for me, it's not a big deal. So that's a pretty easy way to do that. The other thing I'll kind of show you too, that is a pretty interesting thing that we install for a lot of our customers. We install a separate modem and a mesh network for replacing your modem and router for lots of reasons. One, it puts you in control again, because really that's what we're about, is just you being able to take control back, right? Take control of your finances back, take control of your TV bundle bill back, take control of your internet, take control of your rental fees. So we don't have any rental fees with everything we do. Instead of renting your modem router from Comcast for like, you know, 14, 15, whoever the heck knows what they're going to charge next month, right? We can eliminate all the rental fees. So all the box fees and the broadcast TV fees and the sports TVs, that's all gone. As it relates to your internet, though, and your Wi-Fi, ironically, the stuff that is slowing your internet down and causing you issues is actually the same stuff you're getting charged for every month. We install a much, much better, newer technology called mesh. They're kind of like little mini Wi-Fi routers. They're not range extenders, much better than that. We can put them in different places throughout your house. So if you don't have something like that, I would actually just give us a call, 303-794-8600, and we can talk through how the mesh network could benefit you in your house. We can put these in different places throughout your house to just blanket your house in coverage so you don't have any dead spots. I'm going to grab my cell phone here too, though. The other benefit of this as it relates to data caps is it's much easier to use because you actually have an app on your phone. I don't know how well you can see that, but I actually can see all the different devices that are on my network. I can see how much data they're using. I can set priorities on my devices. So this also brings in a lot more other benefits like that. You can actually run a speed test on here. You can set up a guest network. You can see who's logged into your network. You can set parental controls, which again, all those things not only make your life easier and better, but it also gives you the ability to lower your data usage as well. Maybe you put a cap on your kids a certain time of night, right? Things like that. So anyway, it helps you better monitor and control your data usage. Plus, you're saving money because you're not renting this stuff from Comcast month over month for eternity. By the way, there are things like on my phone, I have the My Xfinity app. It actually will tell you where you're at in your data usage. You can set up alerts and reminders. You can log into your Xfinity account online, and they'll have places there where you can actually see what your data usage is. You know, take that with a grain of salt, because there's really not a whole lot of great monitoring tools they give you. At the end of the day, they don't care because they don't want to take more money from you. But at least kind of gives you a general idea of where you've been for the last, 3 months, and, things like that. And if you put into place some of the things I'm showing you on the webinar today, that'll help you kind of lower down your data usage as best you can. One other main way to lower your data usage is TV streaming, especially live streaming, right? When you're streaming all your channels on multiple TVs. One thing is, when you're done watching TV, hit the home button, right? So you're back at your home screen, you're not streaming something live. The other thing is, like, when you fall asleep at night, maybe set your TV to turn off, or maybe hit the home button when you're done watching TV, as opposed to just having it stream all day. Or have it in background. Use the radio as opposed to having a bunch of stuff on 3 different TVs, like if you're just watching the news or something. If you're just streaming music, things like that. So there's ways to kind of limit data usage that way. The other thing that we do, for at least as many customers as are in a good spot, is we install a much better outdoor or attic HD antenna. What that antenna does is a lot of different things. One, it gets you free TV. You get 50, 60 channels for free. Most importantly, it's all your major network channels. So I'll actually kind of show you this real quick in the grid guide here. This is one of the things that we install in the back end that allows you to have like the same grid guide and DVR functionality for no monthly rate too, by the way. So not only is the 50, 60 antenna channels free, but the grid guide, the DVR, all that stuff is $0 a month as well. But as it relates to our discussion today, there's lots of reasons we do what we do, right? We've been doing this for 10 years, so we're experts at it. There's a lot of crazy, funky things going on with the TV and the internet and the billing and all the Comcast, communications. We have solutions for all that because we've been doing this forever. Part of the reason we install a TV antenna is because there's no data usage. This has nothing. You could get an antenna installed and not even need internet, quite frankly. So when you're watching the local news, when you're watching the Broncos games, when you're watching all the major networks, which is basically where all the 49 of the top 50 shows are on local network TV, that's what you get for free off of an antenna. It's better HD quality, and it does not use data at all. So we usually recommend that for most of our customers, obviously because of that reason, but also because you're really taking your $200 bundle, getting it down to $50 a month, right around there for internet, and taxes are $1 or $2. All the rental fees are gone. The broadcast TV fee is gone. The sports TV fee, the box fees, the HD fees, the DVR fees, all that stuff is gone. So literally you're just paying anything you want for cable channels above this, which is, some of them are a la carte, or you can have these little bundles that are 30, 40, 50, 60 channels for 20, $30 a month is usually what we recommend. So it puts you in control again. You're taking back control, no contracts, do what you want when you want. But the antenna is a really important piece of that, because for obvious reasons, it's $0 a month, but it's also, maybe the not so obvious reason is it's not using data. Like some of these streaming services where you're using data constantly for live TV, especially, is more bandwidth intensive and just using more data. Yes, there's different things you can do. Like I said before, hit the home button when you're done streaming. Don't have it streaming on 3 TVs at the same time. There's different things you can do there. Don't stream in 4K. Like I said, adjust the apps. The other thing that I would say too is, it's not going to be possible in all areas, but I would recommend, if you use a lot of data, try to get Centralink for internet. Unfortunately, yes, there's internet providers like Nextlight. If you live in Longmont, is a great option. I'd highly recommend that. If you live out in the suburbs, it's going to be Comcast or Centrelink. If you live more urban areas, more high rises downtown, you will have some options potentially for like Starry as an internet provider. They don't have data caps. There's other things coming. Like I said, we'll have a webinar probably in a month or two that talks about all the internet provider competitive options that are actually coming for next year, which will be great, right? When we have real competition, I wouldn't be surprised if these data caps from Comcast are totally gone, quite frankly, because that's how it works, right? Again, it's just a money play by Comcast at the end of the day. So if you can get CenturyLink, I would go online, check out your address. They'll tell you what speed you can get. Again, it varies by situation. I've actually done a separate blog and a separate webinar on this topic specifically. So if you go to that section of our website, you can check that out. Or if you're new to freeTVee, new to cord cutting, whatever, like I said, go to the website, click on schedule a call, and we can kind of walk you through the options. But long story short, it kind of varies by situation. You don't need some super fast, crazy speed. I wouldn't recommend CenturyLink if you're only getting like 20 or 40 megs. That's probably not going to cut it. The more people you have, the more speed you need, basically. But anything 60 or above for 1 or 2 people households will be fine. CenturyLink doesn't have data caps that they enforce, so that would be the benefit of switching to CenturyLink, assuming you can get a decent speed, is you don't have to worry about data caps anymore. So that's obviously probably the best way to do it, quite frankly, is switch to a competitor that doesn't have data caps. Like I said, there'll be more internet competitors coming in the future. We'll have a separate webinar on that topic, so I won't get into all the nitty-gritty details there. We've had a separate webinar on how to fix up your internet and your Wi-Fi. A big piece of that, like I said before, is what we install. So if you're having issues where you can't stream and it's buffering, or you can't log into your work, or you can't log into your kids to school, or it keeps dropping, stuff like that, give us a call, 303-794-8600, and we'll walk through kind of what you're seeing and give you some solutions. Don't call Comcast. They don't care at the end of the day, right? Call us instead. We'll be able to walk you through some stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go back and pull up our website again real quick, and I'll show you. If you go again to www.freeTVee.com, so it's 8 letters, freeTVee.com. If you go to, obviously, the watch webinars for future webinars, if you're new to freeTVee, I would definitely suggest scheduling a call with one of our experts. But what I was going to show you is this news section here. If you click on news, that's all the blog articles that we write, usually about once a week. A lot of different topics. You can actually filter by topics too. So if you wanted to just filter by like streaming, as an example, you could do that. Here's the one that we were talking about today, which is how to optimize your internet and avoid the Comcast data cap. So this is a good one to click on to kind of cover some of the stuff that we covered in the webinar and give you kind of a refresher. This talks about how to negotiate your bill down. This talks about how to get rid of the bundle. This is the other one I was talking about, though, how to make your internet faster. Because, again, at the end of the day, calling Comcast and CenturyLink, they're going to give you a lot of misinformation. They're going to tell you need more speed, because they want to charge you more money every month, right? You don't need more speed most of the time. It's actually the hardware you're renting from them, ironically, is not good. It's a piece of junk. So the stuff we install fixes that problem and saves you the modem rental fees at the same time. So again, that's why we do what we do. We're experts at it. We've been doing this for 10 years. I personally worked at CenturyLink for 13 years before this. So I've been in the business for over 23 years now. So I've seen a lot of stuff at a lot of people's houses, and know a lot about internet, Wi-Fi, networking. Yes, we do cord cutting stuff. Yes, we do TV. Yes, we do TV antennas, outdoor attic, installations for antennas. We help people save money. But the internet, the streaming, the Wi-Fi is all a big piece of that as well. So anyway, in the future, if you want to look at future webinars, just go to the website, freeTVee.com. Click on Watch a Webinar. We'll probably have something out there in the next week or two. We'll do probably one webinar a month over the next couple of months for the holidays, and then we'll get back on it a little more after the holidays. But if you go to the news section there, we'll have new blogs every week usually. And like I said, if you're new to freeTVee, new to cord cutting, I would highly recommend just going to the website and just click on schedule a call with one of our experts. It's more of a one-on-one consultation. So since everybody's situation is different, definitely worth it though, because we take your gigantic $200 bundle, chop it way down to $50 for internet, and we have free options for TV, TV guide, grid guide, DVR, all that stuff is free. And you can get any cable channel you want for a lot less money. So anyway, thanks for tuning in today. And we'll look forward to talking to you in the future. Take care.